Hi, my name is Cristina Rodrigues and I'm from Portugal. For a long time I've been feeling impelled to share my experiences and the wisdom that I've been gathering along my journey, my spiritual awakening. I've always felt different, like I didn't belong. I was looking at the stars. I also felt a very sense of purpose. I remember telling my grandmother when I was 10 that I was here to help with some change occurring in the planet. Of course, at the time I thought it was scientifically, because I was always attracted to those areas. It was only later in life, as I progressed, as I discovered and explored other ideas, that I actually came to understand it's way beyond that sense. One of the things that I had to come to understand very early on was that not everybody is ready or wants to listen to this, and that is okay. If you are here, I'm very grateful. You may have shared some of the same feelings that I've had, and you're probably on your own journey, so I'm here to share and hopefully enrich and facilitate somehow your own journey. So thank you. Since I was a young kid, me and my cousin were about the same age. We used to have a lot of interesting questions, I think, for a child. Why am I me and not you? It was not until we saw a ghost together, though, that our curiosity really spiked. It made us understand there has to be something else. Still, some of these out of the ordinary experiences in our childhood went by and were soon, well, not forgotten, but it went in the backdrop of life. While I was growing up, I developed a severe depression, and I'm grateful now. Of course, I understand everything has a purpose, but at the time, so I didn't really go out much. I didn't go to the beach. I didn't hang out. I didn't really have friends. So I used to watch a lot of documentaries. I was very, very curious. So I was always watching Discovery Channel, History Channel, National Geographic, any sort of documentaries. I love ancient civilizations, science, anything scientific, and paranormal activities that, because of that ghost experience, always got my curiosity. However, I came to understand later that most of these programs, these documentaries, are designed in a mainstream kind of way, which means they'll get the craziest looking person to be in favor of the existence of said phenomena, while they get these people on a lab coat. I don't know if you are aware of the experience with authority, can't remember the name now, of course, Milgram, that's it, Milgram's experiment. So they get these people, you don't even know if they're scientists, but in a lab coat, so they show authority, and because we have this process which is the cognitive laziness, we basically just assume they have to be right. So of course human curiosity is like a little itch. We always want to know, and I think most of us realize this is not all that there is. Being born, eating, studying, finding a mate, reproducing, getting a house, getting a car, dying. Surely there's more to life than this. And we are curious and we want to know, so they need to produce these little documentaries, scratch the itch, but then say, no, it's just imagination, it's all in your head, so it doesn't exist. I did come across some really interesting documentaries and even movies that inspired me to look for more. One of them was What the Bleep Do We Know, with a little introduction to quantum physics. For me, was my bridge from science into the unseen. Because until then, for me, science was my God. If science said so, then it must be it. But after that, and considering I've had some alternative experiences, it really opened the door for something new, for expanding my perspective. Also, I had well, I had seen a lot of documentaries in which they go to these cemeteries and they ask questions and they record the replies and then raise the sound to the frequency that we can't hear naturally, and they get the answers. And then I watched this movie called White Noise, and so me and my sister decided to try. It's like, if they can, why can't we? And we got an interesting experience out of that. Later on, I also had I witnessed a UFO sighting, and my sister and a cousin were also present. That kind of, I feel the ghost and the UFO were kind of little, not gateways, like little wake-up calls for me to remember the greater picture. Later on, I actually found myself researching, and I came across Disclosure Project, and then Project Canal, and then everything started to unravel, and suddenly everything started to make sense, why the world is the way it is. And I was just researching non-stop, like since I got up really early. I didn't get up that early, but I was up like 6, 7 in the morning until my eyes wouldn't stay open anymore, just researching, watching everything that I could see, and just piecing it all together. And it was then that most of my depression lifted, really, because suddenly things started to make sense. Somebody said, I can't remember, like, I am a bit bad with dates and names. I will try to remember or put in the description below. But it is no measure of health to be adapted to a sick society. And it's true, how can you not feel sick when you look around you and you see the injustice, the unfairness, the cruelty, the corruption? Really, like, if you are well adjusted to that, you know, you really need to look within you. So yeah, I've had a lot of interesting, I've experienced a bit with remote viewing as well, and through my research I came across a few examples of people that were being able to call UFOs. So again, with my attitude of practicality, I just say, well, if they can't, why can't we? So me and my sister started to try, and we were successful. We had a lot of different sightings, which I will tell in the future videos that I will make. Sorry about I don't want to forget anything, and it's my first video, so I hope you bear with me. So the first step was really to, you know, rebuild all of the foundation, to realize really what this reality actually is in the sense of the physicality. But then I moved out of that to a higher perspective and into the road of self-realization. And it's been a very interesting journey, with a little pause here and there because of work, relationships. But recently, in the last few years, I really delved completely into it, because it is all. It makes up all. And if you are aware of your true inner essence and being, you are able to create heaven on earth. And this is what I feel I'm here to teach, to give you, to offer you a different perspective, the perspective that I've gathered, and to assist you to expand your horizons and then create your own perspective and heaven on earth. Because we're all unique, we're all different. We all have valid perspectives. One may see it from one angle, the other one from the other angle, but they're all valid. Take from my experience and the wisdom that I'm sharing, whatever makes sense to you, and piece it together. Go out, research, read, learn, ask questions. This is the most beautiful thing. When you ask the questions, the universe answers. Can be through a movie, through a documentary, a person that you're going to meet, a book that you just suddenly seem to notice on the shelf. It's really beautiful. We are one. And it's all interacting. The more you become who you truly are, the more you recognize your divine essence and your power as a divine creator, then the more synchronicities you'll see. Things will start to just feel easy and abundant and joyful. And this is how life can be. For me, after all that I've studied, all the different civilizations, beliefs, religions, that's the one that makes the most sense to me. A joyful, peaceful, abundant life. Through my journey, I have developed a keen sense of intuition. I am aware there are energies that are here and are working with us. They want to help us, they want to contribute for our existence and support our work and our lives. So I'm very in touch with that. I will elaborate on it more further down, but it's amazing. I am, and I feel very protected and safe all the time. I have everything that I need. I'll teach you to feel and to get exactly the same. I have discovered the nature of reality, or at least the layer we're in right now, because you know what I've learned as well is the more you know, the more there is to know, because you keep expanding and expanding, so you keep getting different layers and facets and levels and depth of the concepts and ideas and experiences. So this is my current point of view, which doesn't mean it won't evolve, but as far as I've understood and I have applied in my own experience, our reality is being it's like a holographic projection based on our beliefs. These beliefs have been imprinted on us as we were growing up. There were some intentions before we came into this life, but after that, it is our parents' education, society, history, all these little things that imprint into us what we should believe, what we should expect from people, from society, from life, and we keep living them. Even though they make us unhappy, even though we don't find them fair, we keep using these programs and just running them automatically. Most of the people, as they say, are asleep. This just means they are working and performing their lives, repeating cycles based on this programming. I'm here to tell you that you can change this programming anytime you want. And it's actually quite easy. And once you do, man, life is great. Like, I've never been so happy. You know, it's been, when I was depressed, I remember there was so many times I just cry until I was almost out of air, and I would just hope I know this is a bit depressing right now, but it was an experience I had, you know. I think we always evolve and learn. But I would cry so much, I would feel like I couldn't take the next breath. I felt like catatonic, and I really hoped that I would die, and I didn't believe I could be happy at all. And I've had a good laugh, well, not laughing at that little child that was obviously in pain, but laughing at myself for not realizing how joyful and beautiful and just amazing life can be. So I really want to pass on that message to you guys. There's so many people suffering out there, and I feel this information will be of much value to all of you. So again, thank you for being here with me. We're going to be talking about a lot of subjects because everything is connected to everything, really. So it is necessary to understand the interconnectedness of everything. I hope you forgive me. I have written it down so I don't forget it. These are not all the themes, they're just some of them. But still, like, there's so much to talk about that I was a bit afraid I wouldn't remember it on the spot. So I hope you forgive me my little cheat here. So we'll start with quantum physics, because that for me was my bridge, as I said, between the scientific side to the unseen, spiritual, out of the ordinary sort of perspective. It showed how the particles are affected by our thought. So it was like that little seed just to make me realize that we're a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. I'm fascinated, and I will be sharing some of the ancient civilizations and mysteries with you, like the Nazca lines and the elongated skulls that have been found there, about the mines, the gold mines found in South Africa that have been there for millennia, even before we started ourselves doing it, the dropper stones of Easter Island, that there are pyramids all over the place, ley lines, the flower of life being carved all over the planet. There's a lot of really interesting stuff they kept out of our history books. You know, I used to think history was so boring until I actually started looking at the real history, and we don't even know everything. Anthropology, it's been very interesting, because you know, you're born into one culture, one society, and you think this is it, this is the way life is lived. It is not. There's so many different ways people have found to live their lives. I've been studying and also been working with lucid dreaming, astral projection, and remote viewing. They're all very interesting subjects. Becoming aware within the dreamscape and being able to manipulate it. Because here in our reality, in the physical plane, there is a time lapse between thought and manifestation, or in the physical sense. However, in the dreamscape, it happens instantaneously. So you can have a lot of fun, and a lot of people explore these levels, and it's absolutely fascinating. Kirlian photography, that was for me the first time I actually believed it was an aura, because this type of photography actually is able to capture the little electrical fields around your body and everything else that is alive. And they actually have filmed how one aura affects another. The UFOs, I will tell you some of my most interesting sightings. If there's an interest, then I can tell you more. Multiverses and other dimensions, I think this will crisscross with the lucid dreaming and astral projection as well, and quantum physics. Even our science says there must be at least 11 different dimensions. You know, this is my limited perspective considering my experiences and my research, so then you are very well free to expand upon that, and even leave comments if you have any suggestions or material that I can study, because I'm always very interested in expanding and learning more. Cymatics, how sound, well, it's vibration really, but we have been able to control sound and apply it on metal plates with either liquid or solid, and they produce these patterns of energy. Also, through this method, they've been able to levitate particles, which is very interesting. I've discovered about the power of emotions. I don't know if you know about Masaru Emoto, but our thoughts cause emotion. The emotion then produces waves of energy, and these affect water. Just remember, we are more than 70% water. We'll talk as well about reincarnation. I've seen enough testimonies and ideas and information that for me, more than enough proof there's more than just this life. So I hope to share that with you. As I said before, I know there are energies here that want to help us. Depending on the culture, they've been interpreted in different ways. I found them to be very useful. Just imagine, like, you're born into physical reality, which is tough, it's a challenge, so not every consciousness is willing to do this. So some of them come as just energy beings that are here with us, helping us, but they can only help you if you ask, because you have free will, so they cannot intervene unless you ask, or you put yourself in a very near-death situation, then they have to intervene. It's up to you to see what is important to you at the time, and then ask. So, miracles. as Bashar says, miracles are the natural order of things, and when you actually start to be in alignment and work with the flow, miracles will become a natural thing. I've had so many different situations just working out in the best, most beautiful of ways. Health and cures. You have the full right to well-being. That is your natural state. Illness comes through misalignment and resistance. And once you understand this, health is yours. After a while of being kind of hinted, I started meditating, which, I only started meditating after I manifested my nightmare. That was a very, very good, strong and powerful teaching for me. At the time I had moved out of the country with my partner. While we were there, I found myself in a position that I was the immigrant that didn't speak the language, and it was really hard finding a job. And the recurrent thought I had was, I really hope I don't clean toilets. And I got so many warnings. There's this thing called the angel numbers as well. When you see a repeated number, it's trying to get your attention. It's like codes with information, and you can actually look them up. And they've guided me along a lot of my journey, which has been really helpful. And during that time, I kept getting all these messages. Careful, your thoughts are being manifested into reality very fast. Be aware of your thoughts. I was in so much fear and so much panic. I barely had any money. I was supporting my house back in Portugal. It was tough. It was really tough to keep my balance. And when we finally got to the end of the rope and we had absolutely no more options, we had to look for a job in Austria, in a neighboring country. And the first job that replied to us, the description for my tasks began exactly with that: cleaning toilets every day. And I had to laugh. I really had to laugh at myself, because I was like, I knew it. I know our thoughts create reality. I was even warned. Why didn't I snap out of it? I know it's difficult when we're at that real world of fear, when there's so much fear. I know, I've been there. So what happened was we had to take this job, and I went there and it was miserable. It was a very strong lesson in many levels. Learned a lot with it. I do believe life doesn't have to be hard. We make it harder than it has to be. But it was then, after getting so many hints of meditate, every time I asked the question, how can I do this, what's this solution, blah blah, and I got the indication, meditate, through many different venues. I got meditate. But I just didn't have the determination, the persistence, or the discipline. But once I was working, I was forced to wake up at a certain time and do a certain schedule, and I just put it in there. When I was cleaning the sauna, I took 5 minutes and I just sat outside, looked at the mountains, listened to the bird chirping, and just meditate. And doing that practice every day changed my life completely. Clarity suddenly was mine. It started this amazing journey that I'm on right now. So I definitely recommend meditation. There are many different types of meditation though, so you should really find what makes sense to you. And so I'll have a video on this and explain my experience with it, and see what makes sense to you, what makes you feel good. I believe we're here now on the planet to awaken and expand our consciousness and awareness, and realize our true divine selves, that we're here to create, that we're not slaves to anybody. We have all our power within ourselves, and I find this very empowering and freeing. So I hope I can convey that message to you as well. My main objective is to offer you the manifesting tools that I've acquired through my process and my journey, and I'm still learning. so that you can become a conscious and deliberate creator of your own life and stop being a slave to the old paradigm and indoctrination and programming. I'm going to teach you how to make your dreams come true, because I do believe we're here to create heaven on earth. For all of you out there on this journey, you probably already have discovered that only experience firsthand is the real teacher. But I do want you to know that I have a degree in psychology. I was always focused on the theory of finding a purpose in life and more towards the positive psychology aspect of it. I also have a degree, a license in coaching, for life coaching, that is very much based on being aware, being conscious, and getting your empowerment back, which was very interesting. I found it very useful because I'm studying all these esoteric topics and strategies and tools, but this got me like a little down to earth, mainstream sort of base that actually connects both. Most of it is recovered wisdom, but they do have very interesting tools that I have been able to apply to myself and in my own work. Also, I have been studying a lot of neuro-linguistic programming. I still want to do the course, but I do believe we are free to learn whatever we want. We can read books, we can research, we can study by ourselves. We don't need somebody to say like, here's a stamp saying that you have a degree on it. And I find it very fascinating because it does talk about the power of the thought and the power of the words, and how those, when you are aware of them, then you can influence the way you feel, and then by consequence affect the way you behave, and then restructure your whole reality around you. It also acts like a good bridge between this esoteric and a more physical, mainstream sort of approach. All this psychology, coaching, and NLP brings me to it's all in the power of perspective. So I wish to offer you my unique perspective and hope that you can get the best out of it and use it, whatever resonates with you, to expand your own awareness and realize there's so much more to this life, and it is amazing. Thank you so much for staying with me and listening to this big intro of what my channel is going to be. In the next video, I will start to tell you chronologically about my experiences and what they made me perceive and expand towards. We then start to expand to other concepts and started teaching as well about deliberate creation. If there's any theme that is of most interest that I have mentioned, please let me know. Then I can make a video about that quicker than instead of waiting until I finish the chronological order. I do like to vary. I get a bit bored if I do the same thing too many times, or like in a routine sort of way. So I'm happy to do different themes, or if you have any specific questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I am very grateful for your time and attention, more than you can comprehend right now. And I wish you a week full of bliss and love and peace. Atma Namaste.